My name is Phyllis Jones, Chair of the North Andover Commission on Ability Assistance, and co-host here of Ability Assistance here on North Andover CAM.
My name is Stacy Leibowitz. I am the Secretary of the North Andover Commission on Ability Assistance and also the co-host of Ability Assistance here on North Andover CAM.
Thank you for joining us on Ability Assistance. The Commission on Ability Assistance is happy to be back here in the studio, and we look forward to bringing you more programming about nonprofits and government services which offer services to those who are considered disabled.
Today we are joined behind the camera with our crew from the Greater Lawrence Tech. And I hope I don't mess up anybody's names, but I do want to do them justice. Joshua Robles, Cassie Bagnano, and our director from North Andover CAM, Ray De Silva.
And we've got also Jezebel Abreu. Our guest today is Courtney Pham, Chair of the North Andover Parents Advisory Council here in North Andover. Welcome, Stace. Welcome, Courtney. And I'm talking about—
It's been a while,
yeah,
right?
I know.
So welcome. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It means a lot.
It's been a while coming, but thank you for coming back on board, because we had a previous episode a few years ago, and there's been a change in leadership and a tremendous change in the school system with COVID and everything.
Yes.
It's been quite a year.
Yes, yes.
So let's start with the basics. What is the CPAC?
So first off, we changed our name. It's no longer NAPAC, it's NACPAC, and we're the North Andover Special Education Parent Advisory Council. And what we do is we're a nonprofit, volunteer parent organization, and we have parents whose children have IEPs, 504s, out-of-district placements. Also, what's really important to know is if your child's going through an evaluation process, that's what our CPAC is also there for. It's really important for parents to know that, because sometimes they don't know where to even begin. So we also help with parents with resources, and we connect them to the proper
Areas,
yes.
All right, let's break it down a little bit.
Okay.
Because I know that you talk about things that I understand. My child's on an IEP.
Yes.
Stacy understands because she works with transition programs a lot, and you understand obviously because you're sitting here.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't. So let's start with, what is an IEP?
Yep, the IEP, right, is basically you're dealing with that for under 22 and
Yes.
Those who need to have the assessments done through the school system.
And
Yes.
they're individualized, correct?
Yes, yes, yep.
Okay. And so that's an individualized plan for students based upon—
I mean, if they have a learning disability, speech therapy, the list goes on.
Yeah, and I understand you're not an educator, you're not a
No.
lawyer, so you can't say what is and what isn't
Yes,
an IEP
yes.
in terms of my kid has fill in the blank, does my kid
Yes.
qualify?
Yeah.
But you have resources that can assist me in figuring that out and determining?
Yes, so then if a family comes to me, I will help them individually.
Okay.
And we'll either talk on the phone or we'll email each other, and then I'll get them to the proper people that can help them with that.
So basically you're advocating and
Yes.
helping them to advocate for themselves
Yes.
as well,
Yep.
which is really critical. I would imagine many parents don't even know where to start.
Yes.
One of the questions I have is, how young would this, are we looking at 14 is basically when the IEP structure starts, or are you even dealing with younger parents?
Young.
Very young?
Young, yeah. Yep.
How young would you say you've addressed? Because it's good for the parents to understand where they can go for those resources.
Well, parents have come to me like the preschool time.
Okay, so it goes-
Yeah, because my daughter started at 3 years old,
Yeah.
like getting tested and everything.
So that's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge for parents, I think, to know that that resource exists.
Yes.
At that age even.
Yep.
My child was on an IEP for speech therapy at the preschool level, and he wasn't even at the Atkinson yet. Now a 504 plan. What's the difference between an IEP and a 504 plan? What does that mean?
So a 504, you don't meet, sorry guys.
It's okay.
A 50
You don't meet certain
yeah,
medical
it's not
requirements?
the same. Yes.
Is the 504 accommodations where sometimes, I might need extra testing or I might need white noise in the background in order to help keep
Yes.
myself focused on something?
Yes.
And there's a specialized plan for that?
Yes.
So I could go to you to look for resources that will assist me with that?
Yep.
And you had mentioned transition planning. Did we talk about that one yet? Or no, out of district placement. What's
Out of
that?
district.
What is out of district placement?
When the district cannot provide what a child needs. So, and then they try everything they can, but they just don't have the resource. So then they send them out to either a therapeutic school or somewhere where they can get what their child needs.
And that's because the state requires each community to provide what's called a free appropriate public education, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Also known as an FAPE.
FAPE.
A FAPE, which a lot of in case we have grandparents who've got kids in Arizona right now, don't realize the federal government requires that as well, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And so again, you have resources to assist with that.
Yes.
Do you help with transition planning at all and helping regarding that process?
Yes, if needed, yes, we do.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Oh, I was going to jump in because I
go
know
for it. Yeah.
that's definitely an area of expertise I understand because where I am in my position is we deal with those that are coming in after age 22, and obviously there is that planning period, and I always liken it to parents kind of look like a deer in the headlights when they realize what's involved as their children are aging out of the system because it's no longer an entitlement. How do you help advocate around those pieces? Are you advising the school systems? Are you working with parents, or maybe a little bit of both? And what does that look like?
So we try to, we do workshops, and we actually just had one. We teamed up with Andover and the Reading CPACs, and we did 3,
great.
The basic rights workshop, transitioning planning, and we also did understanding an IEP. So we
That's
try to
fantastic.
provide
Beautiful,
workshops, and we have people come on our community chats so that we can help with that process as much as we can.
I think that's really essential. I mean, because I think, again, parents don't always realize, and the schools may have, some involvement. They're telling them what they need to do, but they also may not completely understand what their rights are or
Yes.
how to advocate. So it seems like you provide a very essential, tool
Yeah,
to
at
accomplishing
least as a
that.
starting point, because then you're dealing with law,
Yep.
you're dealing with nonprofits,
Yeah.
you're dealing with social services, things that might come second nature to the two of us because
Yeah.
we
But
work
not
in
to
those
them.
industries.
But not to
Exactly.
them.
Yeah,
So-
because I really try to, our whole CPAC really tries to be a support for families. But we're also, trying to understand the whole process
moms and
ourselves.
dads as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, so we try the best that we can to help families that are really struggling right now. So,
Now, right now, we're kind of coming out of COVID.
yes.
We've all been tested. We're kind of coming out of COVID. Not to make light of it, but my son, for example, has been on an IEP since he's been 4 years old.
Yep.
And, remote learning. Remote learning was difficult for
Yep.
everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then you take a kid with disabilities,
And magnify it.
and magnify it
Yep.
an innumerable amount of percentile.
Yeah.
How are you finding in terms of, especially now that, some kids who are on IEPs were able to go back to school
Yes.
in person?
Yep.
Based upon their IEP levels?
Yes.
And my son fell into one of those categories, but not every child in an IEP could.
Yep.
Not every accommodation could be made, believe it or not, at home.
I know.
For whatever reason, depending upon what it was. What are you finding with families now? what's the biggest need that you're seeing?
Social emotional.
Not
That is the
surprising.
biggest need right now. You know, we actually had a Q&A with Marcy Picuzzi, who's the Executive Director of Special Education of North Andover.
Okay.
And we provided 2 Q&As, and she was more than willing to come to our community chat, which very much I appreciate. And she answered questions to families. And so I'm trying to provide that so that they can get that input. But we're also trying to do workshops with, you know, Nikki Murphy. She is the Director of Social Emotional Learning at the middle school, but for North Andover. So she's come on our community chats.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Now, let's humanize this a little bit more.
Yeah,
You're a mom.
yep,
You've got at least one child in the public school system
Yes.
who's on an IEP.
yep.
Okay. You're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer, you're not a psychiatrist.
Nope.
Why are you doing this? Why did you step up, and thank you for doing it?
Honestly, I'm doing it because I have a learning disability, and my daughter actually has the same thing as me. And I remember my mom advocating for me, and I wanted to give back. And so when I moved here to North Andover, and I wanted to find that support. So first off, I should probably tell you, so the learning disability my child and I have together are speech therapy, reading comprehension, social emotional,
Okay.
and sometimes math. My daughter's getting better at math though. She tells me all the time. But so that's what we shared together. And so that actually helped me advocate better for her because I knew what she needed. I mean, every child's different, don't get me wrong, but I knew what she
Right.
needed. And so moving to North Andover, I wanted to find more support because where we came from, we didn't really have that. So that's what I really wanted. And then so I found NAPAC. And when I started, Maureen and Kristen were the co-chairs. And so I got to be a school liaison for my daughter's school.
Which school?
Annie L. Sargent.
Okay.
I just call it the Sargent.
Yeah,
But
that's pretty much what it's called townwide.
yeah, so I did school liaison there, and then I just felt like I wanted to do a little bit more. And then there was an opening for to be vice chair, and so I was voted to be vice chair, and then I'm head chair. And I'm honestly so grateful that I have this opportunity because I'm really passionate about this and I really want to help families, and I'm really easy to come to.
And I think that's the most important piece
Exactly.
of it.
And I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, people hear, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I've been working in this industry for 20 years, and they get
personal-
scared
Yeah.
because all of a sudden you supposedly know more than they do.
Right.
And to hear, though, that you have disabilities,
Yep,
you're not afraid to say it.
yep,
Some people keep that very, very private. You're paying it forward. So
It's huge.
you're one of the tribe, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. I mean, I think all of us here have a personal experience. When you with your son, I have a younger sister who is, and I've been very upfront about it. She has a developmental disability and a coexisting mental illness. This is why I do the work I do.
yep.
And so having people like you be part of this process
Yes.
is huge.
Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up. And having that, because like you said, you understand and you're sensitive to the issue because of what you understand from your own perspective and from your daughter's perspective.
Yes.
And there's no better advocate, in my opinion, to be able to do that. And even those that are professionals in the field who don't have that background, you're in a position to educate and help. And it's not in an obnoxious way, but I think to me this is always a team effort because we're trying to help people.
Yes.
So being able to be a peer basically to other, to parents in regard to their children, but also some of these parents may be struggling themselves because of their own concerns. What you're doing is providing an amazing service. So thank you for sharing that, because again, I think more people than not have this story to share.
And a lot of families are sometimes scared, oh my gosh, you know, somebody's going to find out my kid has a disability, or perhaps I have a disability that has been passed on to my kid, and it can be very socially, emotionally stressing on that person as well. And to know that you're you, I think that's a tremendous assistance. So, you know, on behalf of parents who may not be as overt as, you know, maybe Stacy or I or even you are, that, you know, you should be proud of what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Now, it's a little bit more history on the PAC.
Yeah.
We have one in North Andover.
Yes.
Is that state regulated?
Yes. So it is by law. Every district should have a CPAC. So the CPAC, we're supposed to, and North Andover does. We were for parents for all the schools in the district, for all the parents. So this is for all schools.
What about you had mentioned about out-of-district placement. So technically,
Yes.
once you're placed out of district, you're not physically in North Andover. North Andover's paying for your education, but you're not physically here. So can I still come to you?
Oh, definitely. I want you to. I want to know what's going on. I want, you know, our CPAC wants to know how's your child doing? How are you doing? You know, like, is everything going okay? You know, what can we do for you? What do you need? You know, like, so definitely, please come to me.
Okay, or I'm Auntie so-and-so, okay, and my niece lives in Weymouth, Waltham, wherever. Can I come to you to try to get help on how to connect my niece through her mother or daughter, you know, to the appropriate CPAC or PAC down there? Do you have the ability to somehow connect?
This happened to me over, you know, when we went remote.
Okay.
And actually, a family from Lawrence emailed me, and they're like, I don't know where to go. Is it your CPAC? And so I messaged the right CPAC in Lawrence, and then they got, you know, they connected with each other. So most definitely, if you don't know where to go, like, email me. I'll help you.
Now, other than email, are you on Facebook at all?
Yes.
Do you have any, you know, you had mentioned you have some community programs. How do we find you?
So if you go on, right now we're using Facebook. We have the North Andover Special Education Parent Advisory Council at North Andover PAC.
Okay.
That's where you can find us on Facebook. And then we also have a Facebook support page, and I'm so excited about it.
That's
Yeah, I just
great.
found out about that myself, so
wonderful.
I'm looking forward to joining that myself.
We have 90 members so far, and I hope it just climbs from here.
That's fantastic. I mean, so peers are able to help each other pretty
Yes.
much, as well as reaching out
Yep,
to
and
you.
it can be anonymous questions, so you don't if you don't want to put your name out there, you can
don't
click
have
on the
to.
anonymous post. So,
That's
huge.
fantastic
Yes.
as well, so that
Yep.
people don't have to be scared to ask questions. I mean, I take the adage of the only dumb question is the one you don't ask,
Exactly.
but not a
'cause it
lot
might
of
be
people
the
are like,
question.
and not a lot of people are like that to be able to
Yeah.
just step up like that. They do, for whatever reason.
Yep, and that might be the question that everyone wants to ask, but they just don't.
They're afraid
you know?
to. They're afraid to. I think having those kind of groups, because I know I belong to a SibNet group
Yeah.
on Facebook as a sibling, and that's been huge, because even though I feel like at this point I have a little bit of a better sense of control over the situation, there's still things that come up, and having other peers, other siblings who understand exactly what I'm going through has been huge. And then you have the facilitators of the group, which would be yourself, I would imagine, and others within that PAC, to help jump in and answer questions and concerns. It's almost like having this ongoing support group, which
Yes.
I'm sure, because that was a question that I had. Are there support groups? Are there, you know, not just you're trying to advocate for the, you know, for the child,
Yeah.
but how are we supporting that parent who may be emotionally struggling themselves right now?
So what we're trying to do, and we're hoping it's going to happen in September, because we're still in the process of getting more things done, And one of the goals that we have as a CPAC is in September, we, instead of doing school liaisons, we would like to do so for a learning disability liaison, epilepsy liaison, and so on.
Nice. So have it be more specific to the issue.
Yeah, and that could be for high school, middle school, elementary, so that it's, so it's different age groups too. So we're still trying to figure out, but it will happen.
That's great.
Well, no, I mean, you have great ideas, and it always takes time to put things together and put the pieces together. I mean, gosh, how long did it take for us to put this show together initially?
And right now, we're still dealing with a pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what you are able to accomplish right now, even in the midst of that, is something to be proud of.
Yes.
So it takes time.
Yeah, and you're still moving forward.
Yes. I mean, I was writing down to remember all the community chats we've been doing, and I have to say I'm really impressed with our CPAC because we've done a lot. And also I do have to say the district, Marcy Bacuzzi, the director of special education, she has, whenever we have a flyer out for our community chats, she will blast out the flyer for us, which helps us tremendously because we don't have, so it's good.
Now, you talked about resources. What sorts of resources? Because, people think resources and they're like, oh, you're going to refer me to a professional advocate or you're going to refer me to a private attorney. But where you're a state mandated town, you're a quasi-government agency. Not like the PTA or the PTO that is just parent formed. You're a quasi-government agency. So what can you offer and provide and kind of guide to, and what can't you, so that people understand that distinction?
Yeah, so we're part of MassPAC, which is through the Federation for Children with Special Needs, and they send us workshops, support groups for anything they think that our families would like to be part of. So we blast that out to families. But we're not advocates for, we're not a special education advocate. We can't provide that. But we
you don't go into the IEP meeting.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So.
But you can direct to a website.
Exactly, I'm a connector.
Right.
And if that website happens to bump to another website, then that's something different. But you haven't connected them directly to a professional advocate. You've connected them to a website that they can use from their own starting point that they may not be aware of.
Exactly, yep.
All right, so we talked about the history. Post-COVID, really, so you mentioned social emotional. I mean, that's a huge umbrella term.
It really is.
What, what can you tell us?
Oh, geez.
Well, returning back to school, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, though, probably for many people, that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
But there still will be some transition issues going back, especially for people who may have some cognitive challenges or behaviors that are concerning. I know we're dealing with that and trying to be mindful about how we bring people back in. So what are some of the concerns that you're addressing potentially with parents around that?
Well, I know a few parents are really concerned. Now both cohorts are together, and it's just now all of a sudden the kids have to get used to more kids. I mean, they were before, of course, but
now there's been that
year. But now, it's been that year, and now they have to adjust again. And I'm so grateful they're back to school, but it is a transition, and so that's why we've been having Nikki Murphy on the community chats to be able to address that with families. We've also had Deanna Lima. I'm sorry if I said the last name wrong. She's the community coordinator for North Andover. And we had her, and she talked about the resources she had for families. So we're trying to provide it that way.
That's great. Yeah, because it definitely will be a transition
Oh,
point.
definitely.
It's a great thing.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, there are those changes, and I think, especially if you're dealing with people on the autism spectrum, change is not easy at
Nope.
all. So even though it's a good thing to bring people back in, what that will look like, we want to make sure people are safe and comfortable and doing it in a very thoughtful manner, and also making sure the parents are feeling safe and comfortable with the process. So it seems like you would be serving a pivotal role in helping the families around that process. So that's great.
Now, I would assume normally during the summer, you probably are in a lull because the schools are closed.
Yeah.
This particular summer, because we would have had the kids only in school in person for the most part 2 months, maybe 3, and then we're going to have a summer, and then hopefully we're going back to school in September.
Yeah.
Can people reach out to you during the summer?
Definitely. I really want to continue the community chats throughout the summer so that we can be that resource for families.
And how are you doing those community chats?
We're doing them by Zoom.
Okay.
Great.
Right now we're doing them through Zoom, and it's been working out great. Yep.
Good. So that's a consistency, I think, what you're saying,
Yeah.
Phyllis, about the summer, because again, it's even a bigger transition.
Yeah.
Coming back, going home, coming back again. So supporting the parents through that and maybe helping them to find ways to deal with that with their children through the summer is pivotal. So hopefully it'll be a better transition coming back in the fall.
Yep.
Because I would imagine at that point many more students will be returning. So.
Yeah.
And I guess, we touched on transition, speaking of like the turning 22 piece, that, what have you found around that with parents of children that are getting older and the questions that they may be asking you as an organization around that? Or what is their awareness really for it? Because I know I have found some of the concerns, as I've said earlier in the program, around parents sort of feeling like they're falling off a cliff, that they may not be as prepared. What is your understanding for what they know? Like if you're dealing with high school and they're at that like 20, 19, 20, 21 age, what are you seeing as an organization around that?
I'm going to be honest, I really haven't seen anything because no one's emailed me. That's why I'm saying that. So,
No,
Yeah,
that's-
you know,
yeah,
so
and that's fine. That's an honest answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that, and I wish more families that are going through the transition would contact me, because then I would have more awareness towards it, and then I could speak for, like what's going on with their needs.
Right.
So,
And you're probably dealing with families who are already out of district placement, who, it's a unique universe in and of
Yeah.
itself.
Exactly.
And you need to let families know, by doing this, you're trying
Yeah.
to let them
Yeah.
know
You're educating them.
that
Yeah.
you're
Absolutely,
still
yeah.
here, that the town is still here, that the town resources are still here, even if.
yep.
And the thing is, they may not even realize if they're not reaching
Exactly.
out. Part of that might be, and that's been the experience I've had, is that, and it's not through any fault of their own, that they sometimes don't know. There's so many things going on out there that I have found that parents don't necessarily know.
Yep.
So you serve a very important connector. As you say, you're a connector for this. So the fact that they're not reaching out may mean that they don't realize until they're right up against that deadline. So there's an opportunity there to be involved and say, hey, this is going on, and connecting people just so they do know that this is coming down the road.
Yep.
So that's great.
Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on, and as things come on up, if you would like, we're more than happy to have you back on.
I would love to.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
absolutely.
Thank you for all you guys do too. I appreciate it.
Oh, no,
well,
we're happy
we're-
to have you.
Yes, we're happy to have you, and we're happy to be able to produce a program like this so that services such as yours, folks know that it's out there.
Thank you.
Because if you're not being told about it,
You don't know.
you don't know.
You don't know.
Exactly.
And I always look at this as a team effort. This
Yes.
is, we're all in it together, and I
Yep.
know that's kind of cliched at this point, but I really believe that, especially when it comes to dealing with our loved ones, children, siblings, across the board, what that looks like as far as dealing with a variety of challenges and disabilities. So it's a team effort across
It
the board.
really is, because
So-
we might know about nonprofits that maybe you don't,
Exactly.
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Exactly.
that, you know, we can help each other on, because that's part of our job as the town commission, is to make sure that resources are made available and knowledge about resources are made available
Exactly.
to other members of the town, whether it be a CPAC or, you know, just a citizen, you know, of the town. So please, you know, we enjoy working with you, because I know a lot of times we'll take your Facebook page and we'll repost on ours.
I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
No, thank
not
you.
a problem.
Thank you
Absolutely.
again. Thank you again for our outstanding crew from GLTS and North Andover CAM. Thank you as well for joining us again on Ability Assistance. Please join us again next month when we're talking to Melissa Rodriguez, our town manager. It's been a long time coming, and she's agreed to
Excited
come
for
on the
that.
show, and we look forward to it. So stay well, stay safe, and until next time.